Andy, what's the biggest financial risk that you see people ignoring today?
Thanks, Greg. It's actually the same risk I think we've seen people face for the last 30 years. That's inflation. A dollar tomorrow is not going to buy what a dollar today does. What's changed is the fact it used to be when you started, people retired at 65. They died at 70. Now they retire at 55 and they never die. And so the money's got to last a lot longer. And we see that as being a big problem.
And people have to last through all those market dips and all the volatility out there.
They do.
Should they just buy the dips? Because that's worked for the past few years.
It has. It's interesting. The average intra-year dip is 14.1%. But every time the market flips, the media makes it out like it's something new. It isn't. And we actually view that as a huge opportunity. You can rebalance, tax swaps, shift to Roth, those types of things.
Has financial planning changed over the past few decades? Because it used to be all about stock picking and making sure you're in the right funds. Now there's a whole lot more estate planning and making sure people are in the right vehicles involved.
It is. It's huge. When I started, the role of the planner was to get information to people. You just couldn't get it, and to facilitate trades. Once you got into the 90s, 2000, it was the planning, the estate planning, the tax planning, the knowledge. Quite frankly, now with AI, knowledge is free. I think people can get good planning, ongoing monitoring today, and the next 2-3 years, it's going to get better. So I think where you're going to see advisors are not going to be replaced with AI, but advisors that don't use AI will be replaced. And so I think the role is more of a holistic, trying to help with all aspects of people's lives, which, interestingly enough, is why we founded our firm originally, was simply to make people's lives better. So it wasn't so much the planning or the transactions. It was to make things simpler.
Let's talk a little bit about the role of the client. So you published a book earlier this year called Limitless. Mm-hmm. So what's one limit that you see people putting on themselves financially?
I think it's actually two things. One, like we just said, people, I think, view things from the perspective of the past. It's kind of like driving down the road, looking in the rearview mirror. They're planning based on their parents, not on the future. The other thing that we see is I think people often have a mentality in investing that they're looking at the wrong risks. It's kind of like people go to Las Vegas, so I'm going to play, do I lose this money? Well, it's a losing mentality. People should have a winning mentality. I'm going to grow the money despite the dips, despite those types of things.
And then finally, what's your mentality about your firm as well as the financial advisory industry going forward? You've overcome a lot of things to build a very impressive firm, including cancer. So what's your outlook going forward?
I'm excited. I think what we do, the firm was built to basically simplify people's lives. It wasn't about planning or investing. And I think there's a huge opportunity there. For me personally, we have not only Gen 2, but Gen 3 coming in. And that's exciting to see the basis for an enduring firm. The other thing is, having done this long enough, the opportunity to make some real changes in our community with some of the stuff we're doing, away from the planning.
All right, well, thanks for coming in and talking about it.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.